Hi guys, welcome to the Craft Beer channel and welcome to Copenhagen. Now a couple of weeks ago you'd have seen that I was at Warpigs, Michaela and Three Floyds, really awesome bar, check it out if you can. But today I'm here at BRUS, which is the new home of Two Earl, another great gypsy cuckoo brewery, but they don't like being called that, that's my bad. But we have a really interesting interview about the day-to-day of being a gypsy brewer, the people who aren't adding the hops and the malts, they're doing lots of other really exciting stuff as you'll learn. We also have a tour of this amazing place where they're brewing their own beer on site and serving it with what might very soon be Michelin star food. It's a really, really amazing place. You have to come down here and see it for yourself. Gypsy or cuckoo brewers don't make their own beer. They come up with recipes and brew it elsewhere. Sometimes it's a brewery built for that kind of thing, like the Fort Knox style de Proef in Belgium, or sometimes it's just the home of another craft brewer. The most famous gypsy brewer is Michaela, but this Danish former science teacher had some protégés and pupils Tobias and Tor, who now run Copenhagen's Two Earl. Two Earl are famous for experimental but very drinkable beers, as well as their idiosyncratic artwork. I had a million questions for such a strange but brilliant brewery, but sometimes you have to start at the beginning.
Well, we started 10 years ago brewing at our old high school. It was a really liberal school run where the highest authority was the skolemøde, which is a school meeting in Danish. So the skolemøde would decide everything. It would be above the principal and everybody. And at the skolemøde, everybody would have one vote. The students, the teachers, the principal, everybody had one vote, and everything would be decided there, from the budget of the school to whether we should wear slippers inside or whatever.
Is that voted on?
That was voted on, and then at some point we wanted to bring in some more quality beers into to the school. And there was a suggestion to raise money for homebrewing equipment. And I would say I've never seen a more unanimous vote than the decision on getting homebrewing equipment.
Yeah, it wasn't about bench drinking. It was about being curious and trying stuff out. It was just that we just had so boring beers at the school parties that we thought, well, it could be fun to involve the students and the teachers together.
Yeah.
To brew beer for the party, so you could have something at least to chat about, to discuss.
And what were you brewing? Was it the American styles you tasted, or was it, I don't know, like a Danish Christmas beer? Or
That was a bit of everything. I think we brewed imperial stouts and barley wines and Belgian beers.
So those parties must have got quite...
Yeah, it was one really a batch gone really wrong, where we were going to a big music festival called Roskilde Festival, and we wanted to brew a beer for that festival, and it was I don't know why, but we chose to do a barley wine, and it ended up where we accidentally got to boil while we mashed in, and we ended up emptying all the beer because we didn't have any bottles. We ended up, this is terrible, but we ended up filling them in 2-liter bottles, and just went to
plastic bottles.
Went to this festival and had this really disgusting beer. But at that point, it was also just the fact that you could brew beer, because we never realized that we've been drinking beers, but you could actually do that yourself. You could create the magical drops and yourself, and that was just a thing. Then of course we brewed over and over again and started to learn from our mistakes and started to perfect all the steps.
But so did you go and brew the first commercial batches, or?
In the beginning we were taking part of the brewing a lot, but I would say now it's becoming more of a mix. We like to travel and go out and talk to people and be part of brewing and visiting and collabing. It's funny because I think you are saying that we are gypsy brewers and cuckoo brewer, or what you called it before, but I don't think we use that term at all. I think we if people have to refer us to something, call ourselves beer architects or something like that a lot more. And I know that gypsy brewing is some kind of word that people have put up to try to understand what is happening, but in general there's a misconception of what is actually happening.
So what does your day look like? Because if you're not adding the hops, but you're still involved in the recipe development side and that kind of thing, so what are you? Is it all email?
I would say in general there's not 2 days that are alike. There's always something new because we always say that we learned to brew beer 10 years ago, but we're still learning. We're still developing. So it's a constant iteration of looking at old recipes, looking at new recipes. It's traveling, like Tor says, we love to travel a lot, and that means both meeting friendly, nice people that are in our network. It's also meeting new people, but it's also to travel around to see what different chefs are doing in different kitchens, what different winemakers and whiskey makers are doing in their world, to get inspired. Because if we don't get inspired by other fields of great food and drinks, we don't evolve. So it's about traveling to see what's happening in the US, in Asia, and in Europe.
The first commercially launched beer was a 10.5% Imperial IPA, which was a collaboration with Mikkeller called Overall Imperial IPA.
So when you made it, you weren't going for volume for the masses. You were like, no, we're making something pretty outrageous.
It was quite interesting that on one hand we both had some experience being bartenders. Okay, IPA. We thought we were so much into the craft brewing world that IPA is so much last decade almost. Yeah. But it's still talking to friends and families, people were like, IPA is what is it exactly? And we thought, it was about making a statement for our brewery, who we were, and how do you translate our ideas to be frontier seeking and striving for the best. That was an Imperial IPA, because there you never go and compromise. It was something that showed our dedication to what we want to brew.
Like if we were a contract brewery who had one beer, then I don't think that would be that much fun for anybody. Then we could be sitting at home and counting whatever. I mean, the fun thing is for us is to develop and create new stuff. And
the designs of the bottles are all almost as unusual as some of the beers that you brew. Was that was a school friend? Was it that?
Yeah, Kasper was also part of the home brewing community at the high school. He wasn't that much into the chemical processes, but he also did the posters at the school parties back in the day. So he's been with us from the exact beginning, and I think he really enjoys working with a a canvas. That is a product, but he likes to explore. The logo is always the centerpiece, and Kasper puts the logo always in the far right corner, because he didn't put the logo first. He puts the artwork first, and as you can see on the table right here, this is a good selection. I can see similarities between different beers, but I think for most people, it's each new beer is brand new.
A lot of beer labels will be, if it's an Imperial Stout, it will have like a big, one-eyed monster with a big cleaver or whatever. Like, he wouldn't approach it the same way. Often he makes mistakes in the label, obvious mistakes that will have people stop up and wonder what the fuck happened to this label, and that makes people maybe think and consider what are they actually sitting with, what kind of product are they sitting with. So actually we have tried to push upon him some ideas for the labels, but it never works when we do it, and
you just leave him be.
We leave him be, and he creates some magical stuff some of the time. I think we have said no to him with 1 or 2 labels.
Yeah.
There was this beer where it had some pictures of former US president on the label, where we had to say stop, Kasper, this.
And so we're here in BRUS, which is your bar and restaurant, where this is where you guys actually brew.
Well, the idea about BRUS was to create a scenario where we could present the most fresh beer possible to the customers. So when we have production outside in the world, the one thing we lack is to have a brew pub kind of presentation of the beer where it's brewed in one room and it's served directly in the other room. So here the beer will travel 20 meters or so in total in the lines. It will always be kept away from sunlight, and it will stay cooled in the serving tanks, and it will basically be the best conditions for serving the beers we are doing.
You guys brewed a Kentucky common beer with Lervig.
Yeah.
And I remember drinking that beer, and it was delicious, but it was strange to have a Danish brewery with a Norwegian brewery brewing an American style, but
with an American brewmaster.
Yeah. With an American brewmaster.
Yeah, and the two co-brewers brewer was Canadian. So a Dane, Canadian, and American in Norway.
Yeah.
Brewing an American-inspired sour beer. Yeah.
Just you could only really do with a beer architect rather than the opportunities that were there is so alien to what it would have been, 10, 15 years ago. And I think that's just a fantastic reason why gypsy brewing or whatever you want to call it is a really important force for creativity. Because it's easy to get stuck in a bubble.
I think we're just in a field that attracts creative people. If you look at BRUS, I think we are close to 8, 9 different nationalities. So we are a place that attracts people from around the world who think we are having something exciting.
Cool, well, it's been a pleasure to meet you.
Cool.
Your beers, your labels are really inspiring, and stories like that are why we get into beer, really. So thank you so much for that.
Cool.
And I'm going to go back to the bar for the 3rd time in 4 days.
That's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.